Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. It's Suzanne Taylor-King here again for another edition of Unlock Your Way with STK. And I'm super excited for today's heady conversation with Nicky Cuesta from Blam Global, Bomb Global, Bomb Global. All right, I'll get this right. And Ladies of Leadership, her last book, Building a Leadership Mindset, really took off for you. I'm so excited to have this conversation today. We met in a networking group and quickly realized that our brains were in alignment for this conversation. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for having me. Super excited to be here this morning and share what BOM is.
How in the world did you come up with this concept for your business?
Well, at first, it wasn't a business concept. It was just a YouTube channel that I created February of 2020, right before COVID hit, after being in a company for over 14 years and really still not having my voice. And I know I always wanted to do more, to be more, and absolutely be my own boss. So I didn't have to check in with anyone when I wanted to take a day off or go on vacation. So I built a YouTube channel. It only had one video on growth mindset and fixed mindset. And yeah, that's kind of where it started. And it just sat there for 2 years due to perfectionism and just life goes on. And there's other things that kind of distract you. But after meeting my publisher who asked me what my story was, I actually realized that was the seed that was planted and brought it to life May of 2022 and started writing this book.
It's so incredible. I remember my first YouTube video. I think I've deleted it now because I was shocked and appalled by my lack of being able to do the video in the first place. And the lighting was bad, the connection was bad, the scripting was bad. I think I was reading from something I wrote, and now I don't do that at all. And so it's always interesting to look back at the beginning of our journey, and I think it's great to do that and realize how much you've learned and how much you've improved. What would you say your biggest learning was in that time for yourself?
Wow. In that time, it was the biggest learning is that you just had to do it anyway. Do it unprepared, do it with not all the good gadgets and lighting and things like that.
Yeah.
I too also scripted. I had a whole PowerPoint as I was speaking. So I wasn't even speaking into the camera. I was kind of like in a diagonal form, but it was a great video. I actually just shared it with my community after, wow, it's been up for about 4 years. I have not deleted it. And it definitely shows the growth. And that's what I am always preaching, right? Start where you're at, get moving, progress in the process, and then see the journey, right? Because that's really what it's about.
Yeah. I think so too. I think the only reason I would have left my imperfections there, except I had a totally different business, 15 years ago. So I said my YouTube channel is going to be more focused on my podcast and my current business. So I just made it more in alignment with who I am now. But I love imperfections. I love being real. And I've recorded many videos out for a walk in the morning, no makeup, hair not done, no lighting. And I think that's really important for people to get to know you and me. And the work we do is so intimate with people. And, because we're in their heads, we're in their mindset. And let's go there. How did you start really believing that this was the work you were meant to do with people?
Wow. It still goes back to, again, being in that corporate space and being a corporate trainer to new
Mm.
hires that were coming into the company, and just being their role model, right? Just being that person that just poured life into them when you had people come in and
Yeah.
really complain about their day, about that they can't do it, they don't understand it, and really finding solutions. And once you have the tools, shifting that mindset to embrace it, especially people just are so
Yeah.
afraid of technology, which was, my background with business technology and information technology in the healthcare space, that it came easy, it came natural, and it came even
Mm.
more easy to share that mindset that I had about my day to day. So it takes some time to really first identify what your core values are, to even decipher what type of mindset for any journey that you're going to go on, because you have to be true to yourself, right? You have to make
Mm.
sure that you know who you are, what you want to represent, what you want to showcase, and how do you want to deliver that, and who do you want to impact with that. And if you're not right in your mindset, it's going to be a little difficult, and you're going to hit some walls. And that's why I just poured into myself, my personal development, and really finding strategies and ways that would just make my life easier, just in the day to day, to continue this smile that I have,
Right.
even through the valleys, even
Right.
through the valleys.
Yeah, I think, well, that's when I think the resilience and the grit actually get developed when you're in those valleys. At least that's been true for me. Every entrepreneurial journey I've ever had, the lessons came in when things weren't going well, or when there was money issues, or when there was, people issues. That's when the lessons really, that's when the improvement came, that's when the growth happened, because you kind of realize you have to do things better, you have to do things different, because you don't want that result anymore. And that's really the definition of what you're talking about, having a growth mindset and looking at it from that perspective. And I think it's hard for people to really look at themselves, and really say, "Oh, I'm the problem. I can't fix other people. All I can fix is me." And it's really beautiful the way you explain. I know when we first met, learning about your healthcare background, that's where I came from too. Do you think that has molded you, the fact that you came from that healthcare background, even though, um, maybe you weren't in it for a long time? Do you think that molded how you care about people now?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, even getting into that
Mm.
corporate space, I didn't have the experience. I was at 24,
Yeah.
just business education, nothing that had to do with healthcare, and then bilingual at that, speaking Spanish, trying to
Mm.
say all these medical terminologies. And really, I started in the member base first. So I was a call center representative. So just educating them on their benefits and things like that. And then creating systems for myself, because we had internal audits. So, the whole goal was to make sure that my yearly evaluations were exceptional. They were up to par, but also exceeding, because they took a chance on me with
Mm.
no healthcare. I took that to heart and I ran with it. So I soaked up everything that I can, learning other people's positions. Why is it done this way? How can we do it better? And forming my own processes. And my
Yeah.
management team really took that to heart and said, "Hey, can you train new hires, have them sit by you, kind of share your tips, because you're doing amazing." But then it never came with a title, and it never came
Mm.
with a pay raise. But again, I knew that something was going to happen just with the journey that I was on. So I had to build those mindsets, to finally give myself permission to succeed when I decided to exit out. So
Yeah.
absolutely, I totally give them much credit for molding my mindset and what I wanted to see in an organization across the board. So yeah.
But that attitude about wanting to do a good job, wanting to learn other people's position, that curiosity of how I can do better, how I can grow within this position. Maybe you weren't mature enough to say, "Oh, you want me to do extra work, it's gonna come with a pay raise." Okay. But somehow within you was already the, "I'm gonna take this seriously. I'm gonna do the best I can." And I forget who said this, but like, if you're going to be a janitor, be the best janitor there ever was, right? And that will open up opportunities for you. And that's exactly what you're describing. You didn't have somebody training you, and now to train other people on how to have that mindset, how rewarding is that for you?
Oh my God, it's leaps and bounds. I truly feel I've been blessed with the
Mm,
patience and the gift to be able to do this. Just seeing women, especially win, and
yeah,
really tap into their passions and their gift to make an impact. It's always rewarding, right? When you get to wake
yeah,
up to 10, 12 messages from your community just saying how the
yeah,
meeting the night before had impacted them and now they're taking action. It's a joy. It's a joy to see what we have been able to witness in a
yeah,
short time. It's been 2.5 years, well, almost 2 years for Ladies of Leadership, but my journey has been about 2.5 years. And to be able to know that all of that mindset and gift that I was given, that I'm able to showcase it in the way
mhm.
that I'm able to, and really build those authentic relationships that's going to go on for a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, we actually don't live that far from each other, and your last conference, I was on vacation, or I would have been there. It was really, really cool to see the pictures of it and the joy on your face and the attendees and, um, just the smiles in the room and the growth that I'm sure happened in that room. There's something magical about being in person with people. Um, so I love that you're doing that. What's the vision for the future of those conferences?
Well, it's going to still stay the heart centered leadership. It's all about building, it's all about tapping into those leadership skills that we have and really building that mindset so that we can create the opportunities that have been here for us for such a long time, but we don't even know that they exist. So the next one is our 2 year anniversary, where we will celebrate not just the women in Ladies of Leadership and their growth and what they have done in the past 2 years, but also women, our sister communities, women entrepreneurs, those that are going to be in the room. And we would love to have that's happening November 16th. And I'm super excited. We're going to do it at the Mummers Museum in
Oh,
Philadelphia.
fun.
That's actually where I got married. And
Really?
yes,
Oh,
back in
that's so cool.
13. So it was good to kind of see it all renewed. And I just knew once I stepped into the space to lock it down that magic was going to happen here, that collaborations were going to happen, that a celebration of just women across the world, that we can do it together.
Yeah.
All grow together. We can share this space of speaking, of events creating, of podcasting, because we just still have stories to tell. We haven't told all our stories. And I know that each story that we have, or each struggle, each battle that we have been
Mhm.
through, is going to be the platform that we want to create for a lifetime. And we're going to go on tour with it. Why not? Right.
Why
So,
not? I love it. I love
so
it. Well, make sure you get me the details for your Philly event. I will share with my tribe and share with my Philly peeps, and make sure I'm in attendance because I oh, maybe we could do some live podcast episodes from the event. That would be fun.
that's
Um, and
awesome.
I think that message that you shared, that we don't get anywhere as women unless we share our stories and share. And I remember finding out some things about having children. My son's adopted, so I didn't have to go through the childbirth process, but I remember finding some things out. I was well into my 40s, and I heard somebody talking about having kids, and I was like, "Whoo, glad I missed out on that." But there's so many things. I mean, from childbirth to menopause to relationships to marriage to being an entrepreneur, that so many women don't feel comfortable sharing and talking about. And I remember being in a room giving a talk to a group of women, and I asked how many had been the victims of assault. Like, raise your hands if you're comfortable raising your hand. How many have been divorced? How many have been bankrupt? And the hands go up. And look around the room and see how many other women have been through exactly what you've been through, but you're not willing to talk about it with each other. And I think that's really a beautiful piece of what you're creating.
Absolutely. It's important for us to not be shameful of our past because that
Yeah.
defines who we are today. And every day I feel is the opportunity to move away from that, to build
Yeah.
something beautiful, or to even use those lessons and turn it into your message and impact
Mhm.
others. Because again, just with the visualization of seeing the women raise their hands, it just shows you are not alone in this,
Yeah.
and none of us are. And it's
Yeah.
again been beautiful to watch the events that I have been able to not only put on but attend. I'm
Mhm.
always impacted, even if it's from one speaker or all speakers. I'm
Yeah.
always gaining new connections and new ideas on how I can be better, how I
Yeah.
can make Ladies of Leadership and Bomb Global better and offer those opportunities. And that's really what
Mhm.
what we need to start taking advantage of and leveraging those opportunities. We just never know. I truly believe investing in yourself, investing in your growth, and really
Mhm.
finding new perspectives, so that you can create your story and feel comfortable in a safe space to do it, where there's no judgment, there's no competition, there is just
Yeah.
love, compassion. It's again, I am truly blessed. I have to say, I am truly, truly blessed that God placed the people in my life that He has placed, whether we're still in connection or not, because
Yeah.
all of it has taught me something and made me who I am, and continue to just love and pour on people even more. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that great stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Sorry.
almost like, the more you give, the more you step into your purpose and serve the people that you're meant to serve. It's like this exponential effect that it has. But I notice it's had an exponential effect on me. It's, by helping, guiding others, whether I'm getting paid or not, has helped me grow exponentially. And I think, if you're not an entrepreneur, you might not understand the value of giving value to other people, and, you're not getting paid for it, or maybe speaking for free, or small things that we do. um but I think once you start to feel it within yourself, and it was so evident to me, um meeting you, that you felt that way, that you felt not only that you were a go-giver, but you were willing to help and guide, and stretch out a hand to someone else who wanted to do the work too. And I think that's so important.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
that. I'm glad that it shows, right? Because that's
Yeah.
all
Right?
I wake up for every day, is to just show
Yeah.
that one, you can. Two,
Yeah.
you have to get ready. Three, it's not going to come to you. You have to snatch it. I mean, I literally, in 2020, I was crossing my fingers, hoping for a severance package and for
Mhm.
them to make the decision for me. And though that was never going to happen, I heard a few words from God just tell me, if not now, when? And I had been talking about this, what I wanted to do for years during my lunch break with some of my coworkers that are still in my life to this day. And they're like, oh my God, Nikki, you're doing what you said you were going to do. So
Yeah.
being able to really step into that, and say, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it with the uncertainty. And coaching and all that stuff really wasn't in the plan initially, because my exit strategy was becoming a notary. So after doing
Oh,
that for
wow.
2 years, and people asking me, hey, how do you become a notary? And I'm like, here's an email, here's the website, here's the supplies you need, and that's it. No, they were like, Nikki, how do you really become a notary? I want you to coach me. And I built my coaching program just by my experience and the tools that I had and what I invested in myself in 48 hours. And I'm happy to say that I was able to graduate 25 beautiful individuals, both men and women, that are able to either continue their business as a notary. As you know, when I started writing my book, that's when I wanted to go into the life coaching, the business
Mm.
coaching, that implementation, which is where we kind of get stuck at as women. We have all these great ideas, we see the vision, but it's really structuring it in the way that's going to create the impact. And
Mhm.
that's where I say, hey, let's go on this journey together.
Well, it's just so evident and so, I think I'm gonna ask you what your advice would be to your younger self.
Wow, great question. And
Yeah.
what I would tell my younger self is, Nikki, you are going to do things that you would have never dreamed of.
Mm.
The plan is already written for you. Just follow the process, stay you forever, and you will impact as you will want to
Love
right
it.
now. So, yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I think, um yeah, I think there'd be lots of advice for my younger entrepreneur self. Um, Probably something about systems and processes rather than just winging it, because I had no idea what I was doing at 24 with my first business. I was like, "What? What? I need an accounting system? What? Do I?" And so I think that would have been my business advice to my earlier self, get the help you need, get the systems in place, and, really important. Anyway, let's talk about your book. I wanna share about your book. How did you get to this point of writing a book about building this leadership mindset?
Oh my goodness. So again, I had to build my leadership mindset myself first. So in
Mhm,
that journey, like the last year or two, in that organization, I had to go back to the basics, right? What steps of courage have I taken in the past that had
mhm,
benefited me? So that became the first chapter of the book.
mm.
So then it goes into being ready. Then it goes into what expectations am I setting for myself and those around me.
Yeah.
Then it goes into action, transformation, just all these things. So ultimately, I had a childhood dream that said, hey, I want to write a book by the age of 40. So, of course, when I turned 40 and launched this notary program, I meet Amelia Roman, who asked me what my story was. And when I thought I didn't have one,
Mm.
that is when the podcast or the YouTube channel was rebirthed and building a leadership mindset was created and now turned into a book. So it was really just the 20 years of just growth and investing in myself and really going through the motions and, the grief of loss. Whenever you're at that peak and something kind of swipes something under you and you're like back to square one. So I
Yeah.
kind of throw all that stuff in there, but it really is, um, my chapters are laid out very intentionally. They're 13 chapters. 13 is my number. It's not an unlucky number, I promise you. And it actually spells out, each chapter spells out create success. And it's each mindset that it took me to get to where I'm at today. Right. And this book was launched in January of 2023. And it has been the essence of what I do day in and day out. And that's what I want to share, that take your story, look at it, jot these things down, what your accomplishments are, because again, we forget to reflect and do all those things. We're always looking for that next step, but we don't go back and see the times that we were at that high peak successful and duplicate that. Now we want to reinvent the wheel. Don't do that. So it's a lot of that. It has some journal entries, some questions, thought-provoking questions to actually get you started to think about those things and take those actions and start building your leadership mindset on anything. It's not just business. This is just life itself. And that's really what I'm about. Just that lifestyle of just loving yourself, knowing yourself, and sharing that with the world, and just impacting. And it's truly a movement, what we want to do with Bomb Global, and take everyone's message involved and take it to that level. So I'm excited.
Well, I think what you pointed out, as women, we have to be leaders at work. And if you're a woman and an entrepreneur, it's double, because it's twice as hard. You have to be a leader within your family, within your parenting, with your children, with your friends. And it really takes a lot of energy to step up and, be that woman. You don't have to do it all, but you definitely have to do it well. Whatever you're doing, you have to do well. And I love that that's taken into consideration with the work you do. And I love something you said. I can't remember whether I saw it on Facebook or LinkedIn or a post you made about being a permission giver. So many times women hold themselves back because nobody's given them permission to be fabulous, or permission to be a rock star and visible and bold and make an impact. And that really struck me, because I know when somebody gave me permission, and she's a doctor, and she said, "Do you need me to write you a prescription?" And I was like, "For what?" She said, "Permission to be who you're meant to be, to step into that." And sometimes that's all that's needed.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I just got chills with that. The prescription of giving yourself permission, that's vital. That's vital to your next step. That's vital to the generations to come. A big thing that we're big on, especially with our events for women, is that we want you to bring your children. We want you to bring your nieces, your granddaughters, because we want them to be impacted as well at a younger age. Give them permission to shine, to be beautiful, to accept themselves. And that's why my subtitle for the book is 13 mindsets to give yourself permission to succeed. I had to give myself permission and say, you know what? I can't leave my destiny in someone else's hands. I have to take ownership. I have to take responsibility. If I want it, I have to go out there and get it. And you can too. And sometimes you just need that tribe. You need that push. You need that someone that's going to just guide you and really show you the way. That's who you have to attached to, because a lot of this that I've done, I didn't do it alone. I can't. I have a best friend for 37 years who's our executive manager, who had no parts of wanting to do anything, speaking, or being on camera or doing this thing. And she's launching she launched her first podcast. She's running a team of 6. She is speaking every day. We can't get her to stop. And again, she just wanted to be a cheerleader. But you don't have to be in the background. You don't have to be behind the scenes. We want you to be up front, shining and accepting that that is okay without, being arrogant, without any
Yeah.
of those things. Like, and that's sometimes our humbleness stops
Yeah.
us and sabotages our greatness because we feel that we can't express our success and share that. And it's so important that you have to. People need to know you exist, that you're
Mhm.
there, that you're ready and willing to help that next person get to their destination. Do not be shameful of that. Step
Yeah.
into your power, into your mission, into your purpose. And I always say, you have to live in your purpose on purpose. And how do you do that? You just take action, you ride the wave.
Well, gorgeous. That is just amazing, and that's our perfect spot to wrap up. What a motivational message. Thank you so much for sharing a piece of you and a piece of what you do on stage. I felt like I was listening to one of your talks. You're so passionate about this, and if you're out there listening, Nikki's book is right below the link here and her website. And if you need permission in your life, I'm sure she'd love to hear from you. And I'm sure she'd love to write you a little prescription on being your biggest, baddest, boldest self. Thank you so much, Nikki.
Thank you so much. And the prescription will read, make it count.
Nice. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great one.
Yeah, have a great Friday, everyone, and tune in next week for another episode of Unlock Your Way with STK.